While the ongoing war on Gaza is sparking outrage among many here at the United Nations and certainly across the world, the reaction in the United States has been quite different. The political establishment has expressed its virtual unconditional support for Israel, and much of the media seems to have followed suit as well. Al Jazeera's Kristen Salome takes a look at how the U.S. media has covered this war and what kind of impact that has had on U.S. public opinion.
And right now in the top box, new violence in the Middle East.
Israel's aerial bombardment and ground operations in Gaza have been the top story in the U.S. ever since the bombs started falling. But that doesn't mean Americans are following it closely.
Do you have any idea what's happening in Gaza right now?
No, I don't. Can you tell me?
Because we're so far removed from it, I have a tendency of probably just saying, I don't want to see any more wars right now. You know, it's like it's a world that I don't understand.
I'm more worried about what's going on right now, economically.
Media analyst Danny Schechter blames the lack of concern on mainstream news and its simplistic coverage of the Middle East that often mirrors the U.S. government's very close ties with Israel.
Israel's enemies somehow, or people they say are their enemies, tend to be perceived as our enemies as well.
The Hamas has used Gaza as a launching pad for rockets against Israeli cities.
That's not very good, because then we can't make distinctions. We stereotype and demonize other people. And so we have no idea of what their pain is, what their needs are, and what legitimacy they have to their claims.
Take a look at the newspapers. Plenty of stories about Gaza, but in just about every one, the Israeli position is given priority. And the pictures generally show Israeli airstrikes or strikes on Gaza, but not always the impact of those strikes on the people.
I can show you, Trace, if you look right over my shoulder here. At the
Images on U.S. networks show Israelis clearing up after another Hamas rocket attack and stone-throwing Palestinians confronting Israeli troops. Shots of the victims, especially women and children, are more rare, due at least in part to Israel's ban on journalists entering the Gaza Strip.
We have correspondents in Jerusalem, but we don't have access yet to Gaza. So
the average Gazan is rarely heard.
You either believe what our media is telling us through Israeli eyes, so to speak, or you listen to what Hamas or other people are saying, and they're often unable to speak clearly to an American audience. They sound a tone of militancy which Americans are uncomfortable with.
Israeli citizens were under daily attacks from Gaza Strip.
And they have to fight for airtime against a well-coordinated Israeli media campaign that some reports suggest has been 6 months in the planning.
The mainstream media in the United States has been monolithic, but the fact is, polls indicate that people in this country are changing their views, that we are coming near a majority of people who are opposed to the Israeli invasion of Gaza. I think what we see with globalization, no matter how much the corporate media acts as gatekeepers, we get information from many different places, and we're seeing the images, and there's nothing more powerful than seeing those images.
The tide of public opinion may be turning, but for now, the United States alliance with Israel appears to be driving mainstream American media coverage. Kristen Salome, Al Jazeera, New York.